Hello, I'm Josie Henley-Anian from Casting Pods, and I'm going to show you how I use my drop spindle. First of all, you need some roving. Here I am showing you how I separate roving. You need to put your hands quite far apart. This is Devon tops, which is quite a long staple, so that's why you need your hands far apart if you want to separate it. If you put your hands too close together, you'll find that it's impossible to separate, because the staple, meaning the length of the hair, is too long. So you separate it down, get it thinner and thinner, and then we're going to be doing some drafting. Drafting is when you pull it but you don't completely separate it out. You just pull it and pull it to stretch the fibres to get them. You don't stretch the fibres. What am I talking about? Oh, there's my cat. Hello. Hello, Hermione. Right, so what you're doing is you're separating the fibres out lengthways so that you thin it out and you stretch it, and I've kind of doubled the length of this now. Now I'm going to show you how to do a leader. You may have been taught to use commercial yarn as your leader yarn, which is good for when you first start spinning, but I've actually just used the end of this yarn, the end of the soon-to-be yarn. I make a little loop, you can see what I'm doing there, and I just hold it and hook it over the end of the spindle and give it a twist, and there you go, I'm spinning, and already I've created a bit of yarn, and now I'm going to start spinning to get some more length to that yarn. And this, I'm drafting here as the spindle's going round. Now when you first start to spin, of course, you're going to be parking and drafting, which is what we call when you hold the spindle maybe between your knees, hold it still, and do your drafting, pre-drafting, and then you spin it. Oh, off comes the yarn, ready to go onto the spindle. So there's my loop, I hook it over the end of the shaft. Yes, that's called a shaft there. And if you think that's funny, wait till you start spinning with a wheel, because there are some hilarious words to describe parts of wheels. Right, so I'm showing you now how I wind it on the shaft of the spindle. This spindle was £6.50. I got it from Calon Yarns, and I also got the fleece from the roving from Calon Yarns as well, which is in Cardiff, a shop in Cardiff. But you can get spindles online, you can get really cheap spindles, and you can get more expensive spindles, and it's a good idea to try lots of different ones to see which one is the one that you can use better. This is my second spindle. My first one that I learnt on was much heavier. So I'm doing a bit more drafting now. That was a bit more difficult because there was already a bit of twist in that roving there. And yeah, there we go. Keep on spinning and drafting and spinning and drafting. And you just keep on going. Watch a bit of telly. A bit more spinning and drafting. Yeah. Make sure that your spindle is still... Oh, it's spinning in the wrong direction. Get it, get it, get it. Right. So if you find that it's spun in the wrong direction because you haven't caught it in time, just put a few extra twists in it without any drafting. And then of course if you have put too much twist in, you can just unravel that last bit. Right, this is where I'm parking and drafting, so I'm showing you what you do to park and draft. Hold it between your knees, it's the easiest bit. And there you are, my lovely yarn. Look at that, how even that is. It's taken months of practice to get it to be that even, so don't worry if you've only just started. Okay, I'm not usually cross-eyed, it's only when I look at things close up. So I'm putting it on the spindle again, and now I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to get it to the camera to show you how far down the shaft I go. So you just keep, this is just one layer of yarn, and keep going down further and further down the shaft. And start again, more spinning, more spinning, more spinning. This really does my wrist in. After spinning for, I think I must have spun for about 3 hours altogether. not in one long stretch, but like half an hour, another half an hour, that kind of thing. And the next day I had such an aching wrist. Oh, there you go, see, watch how it stops spinning and you catch it before it spins in the opposite direction. So yeah, I had a really aching wrist the next day, so I'm just warning you, you know, it feels really good to do it at the time, but you don't realise how much that pinching and pulling of drafting, because it was my right hand wrist that hurt the next day. My left hand wrist was fine. So yeah, so we just keep on going down the shaft. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. I like that song, I love that song. It's a fabulous song. Okay, so now I've actually got right to the end of that piece of roving that I pulled off. And I'm going to show you now what happens. When you want to put the spindle down, it's okay to let go of the piece of fluff at the end. It won't unravel so long as you've fixed it to the hook. And now I get my next piece of roving. So this is, yeah, this is another piece from that same stretch, and I'm just pre-drafting, la la la. And now I'm going to show you how to fix the end. Oh, drop the spindle, lovely. Yeah, drop everything else. So now I'm going to show you how to fix the end onto the new end onto the old end. So you have to unravel it a bit, get it a little bit, sort of a bit of leader yarn there. And what I like to do is to separate that old piece into two, and insert the new piece between those two, and then sort of place it back on top so you've got a sandwich. You don't really need to do this, you can just lay it on top, but I like to do that because I think it makes it a bit more, a bit stronger. So spin, 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 and you can see the join there, there's a couple of slubs, that's what we call those fuzzy bits. When you first start out you're going to get lots of slubs, you're going to get quite uneven. Some bits that are too thin because you've drafted too much, and some bits with big slubs because you haven't drafted enough, and you might also get slubs at points where you're joining in the yarn. Don't worry about that, it's all part of the learning process. Plus the slubby yarn, you can use it as well as art yarn, so I'm going to show you some slubby yarn later. Oh, a bit caught there, let's just pull that off. So you can see I'm going quite far down this shaft. I don't go all the way down because it does migrate, and you want to leave a bit. Oh, look at that. What have I done? Easy enough, just join it back in. You want to leave a bit so that you can keep on twisting it with your left hand, or if you're right-handed with your right hand and you're drafting with your left hand, you want to spin the end of the shaft. You want to be able to leave some of the shaft open. What other spinning songs do we know? The only one I know is that You Spin Me Round Like a Record. The one that I was thinking of was that one in the film Ghost, where the ghost guy, Patrick Swayze, is with Demi Moore, and they're making a pot, and there's that, oh my love, my darling. And I often think of that when I'm spinning, not because it's got anything to do with spinning at all, but just with it being a turntable kind of, you know, spinning around song. If anybody knows of any other spinning songs, please tell me. I like to listen to music when I'm spinning. I like to watch the telly when I'm having conversation with people. As long as it's not too deep and heavy, I can spin while I'm talking. Sometimes I just sit in silence while I'm spinning because it's kind of like a meditation. It helps me think if I'm feeling really nervous. And sometimes I listen to podcasts. And also, while you're listening to podcasts, if you want to check out my podcast, Casting Pods, there's a link on iTunes. Show notes are at www.castingpods.co.uk, just in case you're looking for something to listen to while you're spinning or knitting or any other kind of crafting or walking the dog or doing your housework or whatever. So now I'm starting to go back up the shaft. I tend to go quicker on the way up than I do on the way down. But it's up to you. It's your preference. What I don't like is to get bottom heavy. I like to kind of taper it so that after I've been spinning for a while, at the top near the weighted bit, you'll see more yarn than at the bottom. And what often happens as well is, like I said, it'll migrate, and that nice gap at the bottom there, which I'm using to twist, eventually gets smaller and smaller so that you've got hardly any space. And the thing is that if you're grabbing the yarn and twisting, then it ends up kind of fluffing out, which is a bit annoying. So you need to have a bit of wood or whatever your spindle's made out of to hold to twist. So you can see I don't always do the thing with the splitting it into 3. Now, an experienced spinner will probably not have to keep stopping and spinning the spindle quite so often, because they'll probably find a better flick, a better way of handling their shaft, so to speak, than I do. Now, look what happened there. Oh dear. Well, there's an easy way to remedy this. Yes, this is something that does happen. What probably happened there is that I drafted too much, so it went quite thin, and then I didn't spin enough. I didn't put enough spin into it, so it just kind of fell apart. So I put a bit of extra spin into it, and then I'm trying to do the thing that I do with dividing it into 2, but it's actually a bit too thin. So instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end and divide the end into 2. The new end. Hurrah. See, you can still do it. Easy problem to fix. So there's my little sandwich. And then what I'm going to have to do there, because the fluff goes down past the hook, is just unwind a little bit. Because if the fluff went down past the hook, then it wouldn't spin into the yarn. It would just stick out. So spin, 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 draft, 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 spin, 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 and you can see it join. It's a little bit fluffy, but it is strong, and I'm pulling it to show you that it is perfectly joined. And then we carry on. Hurrah! Problem solved. Look at how lovely twisty that yarn is. I love getting a twist in the yarn. At some point I'm going to show you on another video how to get the yarn off this spindle. I full of face when I'm drafted. How to get the yarn off the spindle and into skeins and set the twist or ply or all sorts of other things. At the moment I'm just showing you how I'm spinning. So I'm probably going to fast forward through this bit again. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round. I want your love. Yeah, Josie, don't give up your day job. Yes, we're showing off the yarn. Look at how lovely and even that yarn is. Isn't it beautiful? Again, if you want to just put it down, give it a few extra twists. Now I'm going to show you some yarn that I did a few months ago. This was when I first learned. I think this was maybe my second or third attempt at spinning. Look at how thick it is. Look at all those slubs. I love it. I love the colours, and it's beautiful when it's knitted up. You need some really big chunky needles. But I'm just showing you that so that you can see that I didn't just start spinning perfectly evenly just like that. And here's another one. I think this is maybe my second or third attempt. I love adding colours in, but I actually found that maybe I shouldn't have done. Maybe I should have just spun it white for a while first before I started adding colours in, because I do find that adding the colours in makes more slubs. Now I'm looking for something that I've spun recently. Here we are. This is something that I've only just recently taken off the spindle. You see how lovely and even that is? Yes, I'm very proud of that, very proud. Still a lot of twists in there, still a lot of spin in there, but we can, when we set it, the spin comes out a bit. Still a little bit over twisted, but never mind. Makes quite a nice effect when you knit it up. Oh, and here's my recent attempt at adding in colour. Again, slightly less even, slightly more slubs, but that's an effect we like. Art yarns, it's called. Art yarns are the in thing now. And there we are. Yes, Josie, put it away. Stop showing off. I can see how pleased you are with yourself. So, as I said, check out Casting Pods. Check out my other videos if you want some slightly more offensive humour. And I will speak to you again. Bye bye.